Alderman Scott Hosner.
Happy Pride! Thank you for being here. This is awesome. And you know, as a pale white guy, I can appreciate anybody that wants to hang out in the shade because I'm gonna melt in the next 10 minutes, I'm afraid. But I'll do my best. As Kara mentioned, I'm a lifelong Salem resident, and as such, it kind of gives me an interesting perspective on how far we've come over the years in my lifetime. Because really it has been an amazing time to be queer, an amazing time to be an Oregonian, an amazing time to live in our country. In just over a week, we're going to celebrate 6 years of marriage equality in the United States. And yes, that deserves a round of applause. That was due to the hard work of a tremendous number of people all over the country for decades to make that happen. We're also lucky to live in a state with full protections for all queer people. And 27 states can't say that. Even though we have legal marriage equality throughout our nation, in 27 states, you can get married on a Friday or Saturday and show up at the office on Monday and be fired for doing it. Things still need to change. There's still work to do. But we also live and are blessed to live in a city that almost 20 years ago enacted a human rights ordinance that was inclusive of gender identity. And at that time, there was only a handful of states in the country that had such an inclusive human rights code. So we have a lot to be proud of, even with the work we still have to do. But you know, growing up gay in Salem, Oregon was not always easy, especially back in the 1900s, as I like to say. I was the only queer kid that I knew in my school because I wasn't out, and neither was anybody else. We didn't have a GSA. We didn't have out and proud high school students or any teachers or role models outside of a few in the media. So it was a lonely time, and we weren't in a city with a very vibrant queer community. But you know, we've come a long way. Since then, of course, dozens of my classmates have come out that I went to school with, and even though we were not even out to each other, much less the school, we were there. I was in college before I even met another out gay person. And I was almost done with college before I came out. And I did so very slowly, starting with some dear and close friends, and eventually to my family and on from there. And over the years in the business community here, it took me a little bit of time to get up my nerve to be out and proud in the business community, but I have found nothing but acceptance along the way. And we live in a community that is sometimes pigeonholed as being very conservative, but I found great acceptance as a queer person in Salem. But I waited too long. Like so many people, I waited a long time because of fear. Fear of acceptance or the lack thereof. Acceptance of my friends, my family, my colleagues. So for my fellow members of the LGBT community that are here today, I know you didn't ask for it, but I'm going to give you just a little bit of advice. If any of you out there are still in the closet, it's not always safe, I know, and you have to wait till it's safe, but come out. The most important thing we can do as queer members of our society is to be out and to be proud, because that's the way we win over hearts and minds. When people realize that they know gay people, when people realize that we're their neighbors, their friends, their colleagues, we all need to come out. And that is the most important thing we can do. And the faces in this crowd and around here today are just a small percentage of the people here in Salem who will accept you. There are many straight allies in the crowd today, and I want to give a shout out to those straight allies, because you make it possible for us to be out and proud and to feel safe in our city. You know, every year I'm more proud of what goes on in our city during Pride. You see it all over the place. You see flags and businesses with signs. I live downtown and I walk past a business that has a sign in the window that says y'all means y'all in rainbow colors. And I just smile when I see that sort of thing, but we need more of that. So for the straight allies in the crowd, please also be out as an ally. Be proud. Put something on your car, put something on your Facebook page. Show your support, show your love. I know just a few weeks ago the city of Salem enacted or had an official declaration of Pride, of recognizing Pride Month, and I think Vanessa will speak about that in a little bit, so I don't want to steal her thunder, but it's awesome. And again, one more thing I never would have imagined happening when I was a kid. Our school district has changed so much. We have a superintendent who stood up for the queer community very verbally and very publicly when the school board, which has been very problematic over the last few years, and changes are happening there, but she stood up against those folks that would deny us our rights and stood up for our queer students in a very public way. And I just saw on Facebook the other day that South Salem High School is flying a pride flag, and I never would have dreamed of such a thing. So we have come a long way. Now, when I was asked to speak here tonight, I was thrilled to do so, happy to do so. And then I was a little surprised to hear that this was a private event. And I know there are COVID concerns, and I know there are security concerns. But I would just encourage everyone to realize that Pride really is about being public. And I really hope that moving forward with this event, after COVID's done, that this can just grow and that we can put posters all over town celebrating and inviting our friends, our allies, and our queer community to join us. Because that is the very essence of Pride, to stand up and be proud. Don't let the haters, the trolls on the internet, most of them are cowards, they're not going to show up. Let us have this day and let us do it proudly. I'm super excited that this event exists. I'm super excited that Kaiser had a Pride event last weekend, and then we have another one coming up in August. Who would have dreamed of 3 Pride events in Salem, Oregon? So thank you to all of those organizations for making this possible. The last point I want to make is when I was on the board of Basic Rights Oregon, one of the things I really learned from that organization was the importance of coalition building. Sure, the queer community is a minority community wherever you go, but we live in a city that is full of minority communities, and we need to work together. Whether that is our Asian Pacific Islander community, or our Latinx community, or our BIPOC community, the folks that are immigrants, are dreamers, all of these minority communities need to work together in coalition, because when we come together, we are the majority. We can get things done. So thank you very much for your time and attention, but let's keep up the hard work. Let's keep it going. Let's not just celebrate Pride here today or this month, but year round. Thank you very much.